Please start, Ms. Dhanlakshmi. Ms. Dhanlakshmi, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Yes, I can hear you. There is a slight glitch at my end. I can hear you.
No problem. Please start.
Yeah. Oh. Good morning, everyone. As rightly mentioned, we have a good amount of 20 minutes. And in this 20 minutes, we would like to be fruitful and take small but very good quality of understanding about how athletics and education can be merged together and it can develop a good future for our kids. So my name is Dhanlakshmi Krishnan. And about myself, I would like to say that I'm an educator. It's been 12 years I'm working as a physical education teacher in an international school in Mumbai. At the same time, I'm a track and field coach for the past 10 years. In this journey of 10 years, I represent twice in India level as a Team India coach at International School Sports Federation to Bahrain, which was 3 months back. And in 2019, I went to United World Game to Austria as Team India coach for ISSO for international schools. So my focus on today's session will be all about bridging education engagement. At the same time, I always use a lot of visible thinking routine with my learners in the school, which helps me to understand that what they understood in today's session and what is also their success criteria about the journey of in sports. So, as rightly mentioned, bridging athletics and education, which will help us to develop as a good educator for understanding our students towards track and field. At the same time, the education is also go hand in hand. So let's see how and what can be the process of it. So what is about today's content is all about teaching engagement through athletics. So how teaching athletics can help in developing an athlete, at the same time how education can be supportive for an athletics as a sport. So at the same time we're also going to understand about enhancing student engagement and what is an holistic development of a student. So let's understand about teaching enhancement through athletics. As we always feel that athletics is all about just a physical activity, but it is beyond that. It develops a lot of inherent quality in an athlete. It develops the child to understand that I need to be a goal oriented. I need to be disciplined. I need to be consistent. I'm sure this all things is not only develop an athlete in sports life, but also it is important in a terms of education also. Definitely a child needs to be an goal oriented as a learner. The child needs to be disciplined. So I'm sure that being in India and as an Indian, we just cannot depend only on sports or only on education. The child needs to have some kind of good co-curricular quality in them. So that's where we got into athletics, and these all are couple of principles which is very important for us as an educator and even for the child to understand that what is the pathway the child is following. Let's understand what is a goal setting and progress tracking. I'm sure not only in athletics, even as an educator, we all may have a certain goal, keeping the learners in mind. So, in athletics, we always have a clear goal setting and which is measurable. As mentioned here is an example, like I want to improve my time in sprinting. This is a clear goal what the athlete has. I'm sure in studies also the child may feel that I may have to score certain grades in certain subjects. So this is how the goal can be related in both in athletics as well as in studies. Teacher can help students set academic and personal learning goals and track progress over a time. I'm sure we all will be having a kind of parents teacher interaction in a year. In my school, at least we have 4 times. And in this 4 times, whenever parents are visiting us, we give the feedback to the parents regarding what kind of progress the child has gone through, or where is the child lacking in. So this will help the parents, the learner, and as well as the teacher to understand that where the child is progressing, and we should have an evidence also with us that the child was here, now child has moved from here to here. In sports, we always set as personal best, which we call as PB. So if a child ran 100 meters within 14 seconds, so that might be the child's personal best. And it might be in past races, the child might have run in 14.2 seconds, 14.5 seconds. So a race where he ran in 14 seconds can be the child's personal best. So that's how the child also should know that this is my timing. So the child should be very much should do the data analysis of himself or herself, that where I am right now standing and what is my current progress, what was my past records and what are my current records. So always as a coach, I request my athletes to maintain a book in which they themselves make the records of their achievements, that what was my jump, what was my throw, and what is my timing, so that when they compare themselves with the upcoming events and the progress which they have made, they have the data with them that they have done their personal best. So in the same way, I'm sure as a educators, as a teachers, we all have the progress report with us, where it helps us to understand that where the child is right now standing. So always, I tell my athletes that we should go as a SMART goal. The SMART itself is an abbreviation for us. So S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for achievable, R stands for relevant, and T stands for time bound. Now, what exactly SMART goals work? The SMART goals always define a clear and exact answering who, what, when, and where. So S is very specific, cleared goal. Like it is not a open-ended question, open-ended answer. It's very specific that a child should be able to define his or her goal very clearly. The child should know that I want an good grades. So what do you mean by a good grade? There needs to be a specific measurement for that. So in education, we can say that improving my math problem solving skills by practicing algebra equations daily. So this is very important, the term daily. So we can see there is a consistency. We can see the child is doing it in a everyday basis, and also it is very specific. In the same way in athletics, we say that we need to be very specific with the drills which we perform for our jumping, throwing, and running. At the same time, M stands for measurable. In track and field, it's all about measurements. In sports, in athletics, it's all about measurement. How much the child had thrown the shot put, how much the child has jumped in long jump, and how much the child has clocked in running. So this measurement helps us to understand that this is what the first stage is, and this is where the child needs to be in. So the child works hard, trains hard, and achieve his target. So a goal should be measurable criteria so progress can be tracked. Always it needs to be measurable. For example, in education, scores at least 80% of my next algebra test. So again here it is 80% is a measurable. So in the next test, the child says that if I'm getting 81.1%, that's itself a measurable and the child has progressed. It's not necessary that every time the child needs to um, you know keep progressing. There may be a stage also where the child can be into plateau stage. The child may score again 80%, where the as an educator we can understand that okay, the plateau stage has arrived, and there where we need to work hard and we need to just eradicate those plateau stage and we need to move further. So if the measurable is clear and it is tracked, we definitely understand that we can do something for the child to progress. But unless and until it is not specific, it is not measurable, we can't help the child to be progress. Then next is achievable. Now this is very, very important and very, very realistic. We can't say that within joining a training or joining a school within 2 years of training or 3 years of training or even a few months of training, we say that we want to reach Olympics, which is not possible and which is not at all a realistic or an achievable goal. We need to be very practical in what we are saying, what we are doing. So, achievable goal needs to be very clear. Also, sometimes here we may face issue with parents saying that my child is doing training since last 2 years, but why my child is not getting a medal? Yes, the child is not getting a medal because of lot of reasons. It's not only just one that the child is training and not getting a medal. The sleep cycle, the diet, water intake, if everything is considered, the routine of the child, what he is doing since the morning he gets up till goes bed in the night, everything is very, very important. So we needs to be very realistic and we should, the child and we as an educator should make the goal very achievable. Let it be minimal, it's okay, but it needs to be achievable. For example, reading 10 books, 10 pages of books daily instead of trying to finish an entire book in one day. So, if slow progress, it's absolutely fine. But that progress needs to be gradually seen in child so that we get to know that, yes, the child is moving from here to here. So, I always say that to my athlete that make sure that your goals are don't go and target in very higher vigorous goals. Keep it very simple, keep it very easy and achievable, and it needs to be also relevant. It needs to be aligned with the purpose. It needs to be relevant. It needs to be practical. The goal should be meaningful and aligned with the personal or professional objective. For example, in athletics, improving my sprint timing will help me qualify for the district level competition. So, as it is very specific, I can see timing is mentioned, very sprint timing. It is specific and it is also having an achievable target, that is it is a basic district level competition. So this is where it needs to be relevant. It should be into the dream world. It needs to be very, very relevant, and as at the same time, even in the field of education, it needs to be enhancing my math skill with help me perform better in my exams and build confidence. So it is a very, very basic stage for the child to develop the skill, and that may help in his final exams. So we as an educator should make such a move where the child is able to achieve, so that the child will definitely get a confident that what he or she is doing is right and is in a proper way, in the proper track. The next is it needs to be time bound. It cannot be, I started my jotting down my SMART goals now, and I will be achieving up after 5, 6 years. No, let it be in a short term, in a short duration, but it needs to be time bound. As it's correctly mentioned in the relevant that improving my sprint time will help me qualifying for the district level competition. The district level
Ms. Dhanlakshmi, did I lose you?
competition goals. So also remember smart goal for them so that they are achieving it, so that they are able to uh, understand that there is a specific goal, and also they are able to believe in themselves. They believe that they can do it. So the SMART goal always help me and my athletes to develop their confidence level. And I'm sure in the education also we can do this. Let's talk about enhancing student engagement. Of course, athletics is an individual event, but there comes a relay where it is all about teamwork, collaboration, motivation, and kinesthetic learning. So you can give them a lot of group engagements where you can see that it's a peer discussion going on. Are they problem solvers? Are they risk takers? Are they collaborative? So by giving them a group task, you can see a different dynamics come together, which you may never know that my athlete can also do this. But you put them in the group, you can see the kind of group which they have formed, the kind of relationship which will they have with each other, the kind of bond which they develop is really very beautiful. So just giving a small example by this, I had a relay team of under 14 and under 17, in which I thought there are different group dynamics. Will they come together? Will they, you know, because all the four athletes had a different thought process. That I may run the straight patch, I may run the curve patch, but when they came as a team, when they understood that each other's weaknesses and strength, they really did a brilliant job. So the group activity always help us as an educator to understand how the child reacts in the group, how the child strives to be in the group, what kind of interactions they are having with each other. The collaboration always works. So even during the sessions, you like if you're teaching any topic, first you teach and you can form different small groups. You can give them tasks to do it, and then you can see what is coming up, what is the outcome. You can give them time to present. So you can in that group itself, you can give a task to them that you can be a writer. One, you three can discuss and give points to the one who has a good writing skills, who can write it up on the sheets. So and when one person is presenting, all are contributing, adding to the what he said, she said. That will help them to be a confident speaker and also develop their leadership's quality. So always I do this, that sports teach students how to communicate, support teammates, and strategize together. So they develop this confidence very very faster if they're going in being in a part of any sport, and that you can see in the classroom also. In the classroom, teachers can design group activities, peer discussions, and problem solving tasks that mirrors teamwork in sports. Example like collaborating projects where students take on different roles similar to a team sport. Competition and motivation, where is an healthy competition, I'm sure the child pushes himself or herself. And it's always, remember, competition is not about just winning or losing. Competition is always about winning, learning, and never losing. The child either learns from their mistake, the child understands where they are, the child intrinsically understand that where I went wrong and what I can do better. So in the same way, even in education, structured challenge, leaderboards, and rewards can increase student motivation. So in sports, in my school, in PE, we have a PE board in which we give them rewards for what they have done. Even a small contribution, pat on their back, which you appreciate the child in front of all the learners. Just give them a round of applause. They really feel motivated. For example, turning assignments into friendly competition or using progress tracking apps. There are different apps which we normally use in sports to track their progress and to give them rewards. So normally, even in my training, we just give a round of applause to them. We appreciate them, and especially if a child runs, I, as a coach, immediately give them feedback that this went right, this went well, this didn't work well. You need to focus on this. So this immediate feedback also helps them to understand where are they standing. And active and kinesthetic learning. Movement based learning improves focus, memory, and energy level. I'm sure even I have a kid who is 5 years old. His span of attention in this age for all the small kids is not more than 12 minutes. It's very short span of attention. But within they're moving, there, if you put some different stations of learning, for example, math in one corner, English in one corner, or sports in one corner, where you have different tasks, you appoint them, give them a different task, you will see they move and they do it well. Why? Because some kids, they learn with the movement, and these kids who learn with the movement also will not able to sit at one place and just listen to the instructions. They may feel very bored and they may not even feel engrossed in the session. And incorporate physical movement into lesson through role play, outdoor learning, or brain. So in our school, in our corridor, we had made a hopscotch mats. So in case if they feel that they need a movement break, they come out, they play hopscotch, and then they go in and join again in their class. This helps them to release those, um, activeness in them, and again they go back and join. Role play always helps them to remember the concepts very well. Let's understand how this all development is leading into holistic development of a student. I'm sure we all, as an educator, think about the overall development of a child. So, but how does it comes from? It comes from sports. It comes from dance. It comes from music. It comes from art. I'm sure it's all the kids are having different talent, but we as an educator needs to recognize that what kind of talent my student has, and if we get that, we can do a transdisciplinary learning in them. Now, what is a transdisciplinary learning? For example, a class teacher in the class is teaching math, giving you an example like 2 plus 2 is 4. Now, the child who is quick in understanding, having a quick um, learning integration with the teacher, can definitely understand that 2 plus 2 is 4. And the child can grasp well, can child can go for further calculations. Now, what about the child who is not understanding that 2 plus 2 is 4? They may be understand by doing a movement. So come out of the class, jump for 2 times, and then again jump for 2 times. Ask the child how many times total you have jumped. The child will say that 4. So here we understand that the child is understanding by doing a movements. So the answer itself we will get as a 4. So movements can help the child to understand different kinds of, transdisciplinary learning. In the same way, a teacher in the class may teach about different body systems, and we in sports we integrate same. So we make them understand how does a blood circulation movement happens, how does your heart beat. So make the child do some jumping jacks and tell the child to check the pulse rate. The child can feel the pulse and the child can understand that my heart is beating faster. That's how the blood functions. So this is a transdisciplinary learning where the child is able to understand sports and able to understand what is happening in the class. So if a teacher is integrating both together, we can see a holistic development in the child. Not only in sports, even we can do in art, even we can do in dance, even we can do in music. So that's how the holistic development comes up. And also if you see a child is coming from the background of sports, the child, it's not necessary every child can develop a leadership and a responsibility role. But as a teacher, as a coach, if you give them responsibility, you can see the child is having the capacity to be a good leader and take a good action with the team and lead into good discussions. Just giving an example, we all do warm up when we start a session in sports. So, warm up, I always tell a kid to come and lead the warm up. The kid may do mistakes, but it's okay. But giving an opportunity to the child to come and listen, to do what is happening, to take a charge of doing a warm up, that itself developing a leadership quality, developing an opportunity for the child to, showcase his or own capacity to do in front of the crowd. So this also I get a feedback from parents saying that my child was very shy, not able to, not coping up, not able to talk much in the class. But after joining some my athletic training, the child is able to take that small ownership, take a small step to go and present in front of his class. So gradually the child will develop, but unless and until the opportunity is not given, the child may not develop the leadership skills. And also emotional resilience and stress management. Just talking about my recent athlete, she is in grade 10, an IBDP student, IGCSE student of grade 10. Her final board exams are going on, but just to relax herself, to reduce the amount of stress which she has, she comes for the training. She is one of the most regular athlete who never ever misses one single class. But even to like tomorrow is her final exams. But today also she was on the ground training. So maybe for her, training is a stress buster that might remove her all kind of emotions. But there may be other kid who may be good in art, and art can be a good form of stress buster. So we, when the parents are coming and meeting us in schools, when we have PRDs in school, we can tell the parent that, you know, this is a very good stress buster for your child. You try to do this. If the child is, the parents may say that my child doesn't sit at one place, doesn't do this, doesn't do that. You may guide the parent by saying that, you know, the art might be a good form, and you can develop this skill if the child is able to sit and relax and do the things. The same way, this build a good character in them. As I always say, sports is all about sincerity, punctuality, organizing skills, respectful, time bound, and it is very, very important to be strategic. So for me, sports stands this. And I'm sure a sports person is fairness, understanding what is fairness, understanding what is respect, respecting the opponent, discipline, which is extremely important. And this not only will help the child to be at a good sport, but this is a lifelong learning. The child is developing this skill as a lifelong learner and develop these qualities which will help him or her in even in education. Now, these kind of lessons helps the child to understand about himself or herself, and that will develop as a real life situation. So we are not developing, as a coach I'm not developing Olympian or, you know, a champion. Me as a coach, my basic thing is the child needs to understand that the real life situation the child needs to face. If the child has a target to reach a higher amount of, you know, um achievement, again it needs to be realistic, the smart goal, then I'm definitely there. But we all are developing our kids to face the real life situation. And I'm sure today, in today's world, all are not going to be their cheerleader. There may be definitely someone who's going to make them feel low. And there where a sports or any kind of art form can come in the child's life and make them feel brave, make them feel confident. Okay, now this is what was all about for me to make understand that how important is sports, and as a educator we can develop good amount of different strategies with them. Not only again in sports, can be any art form. Teaching enhancement through athletics, we discussed, enhancing student engagement, and how a holistic development of a student can be done if we are bridging athletics and education from a track and field for educators. So I'm sure as an educator, you all may be using different strategies, but this is one of the strategy which I normally use as developing a smart goal in them, and which will help them to be a lifelong learner.
Thank you, Ms.
I would
Dhanlakshmi.
I would really like to hear if there is any kind of questions I would like to answer.
Sure. So requesting all the audience, if you have any questions, please unmute yourself and ask your question, please. Miss Anya, Miss Abyan. Mr. Krishna, Ms. Sangeeta, Shashank, Sivraj, and others who have joined through their mobile IDs. So I don't know their names yet. Any questions from anyone? Okay. So,
Yeah, I just had one question. Hi, Dhanlakshmi. The
Hello, sir.
presentation was nice. Yeah, ma'am. So basically, like what is happening these days are even if the kid wants to come for the training during their exam time, the parents has their own pressure. They won't be allowing. What can we do on that field?
Very good question. Yes, see, firstly, in Mumbai, the child have to travel from one place to another. So parents definitely think that there are 20 to 25 minutes just goes in traveling. Why can't that time will be saved? So I suggest them simple home workout for them. Like at least 20 to 25 minutes, they can definitely remove for themselves, and they do any kind of their own body weight workouts. So in this case, what I suggest to my child, to my athletes are, let me know in case if you're not able to come, then I can provide you the workouts which you can do at your own space, do at your own building, you can do your own complex where you have the facility to do it. But yes, this needs to come from them. So I always encourage them, whatever you have used to say, speak out, speak out. So my relationship with with my athletes are very different. So it is always a bond which I feel, even if they're stressed, I get to know their facial expression, I get to know. um if even in the competition phase, you may feel, you may not feel, the child is constantly, you use the washroom, come back, that's a stress where the child is feeling. So these all small things where I get to know, and this only can happen if the child is speaking up to you and saying that I really can't make it, or the parent is, connecting with you saying that we can't travel during the exam time. So you can give them home workout, whichever they can do. But yes, that will encourage the child to be fit. At the same time, the child also knows that my coach is with me, even if I can't go to the ground and do it, but some drills I can definitely do by myself. That's the remedy. I mean, that's the solution which I give them.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank
most
you for
welcome.
asking the question, Mr. Shashank. Anyone else?
Myself, Krishna, will ask a question, ma'am.
Yes.
Uh, Ma'am, actually, I take athlete classes in the school, and I have different age groups with me. Okay, so what happens? The few kids wants to do the activity, and other kids they don't want to activity. So later, what happens? The kids who wants to do all activity, they get influenced by the one who is not doing. Okay, and they gradually what happens? They stop their activities. For example, if I do a warm up, if I ask them to do a jog, like 10 rounds of jog. So the person one who doesn't want to do like what she tells like she wants to do only two. So immediately what the other kid will do like okay when she is doing a two, why should I run 10 rounds? So like how can I overcome all these problems?
I'm sure even during in my session, even in PE school PE session, I also feel the same. So the session is of 40 minutes, in which I'm sure all the 24 kids who comes to my class are not a sporty person. There are some who dislike sports very much, and there are definitely one who loves it. So you will be having one completely which is ups and one which is completely down. So, as a coach, what I do is I give them two options. One is first 20 minutes is what Miss will do with you all, that engagement you have to do. Then the next 20 minutes will be of the learner's choice. So, the first 20 minutes, they have to listen to me. For the next 20 minutes, if they want to do of the learner's choice. So, first 20 minutes, the session is led by a teacher, which is me. And the last 20 minutes is for the learners who wants to do the things as per their wish. So this is the very first session of the year, starting beginning session of the year, which gradually goes up. Then the time duration of mine increases from 20 to 30, and their session of doing from 20 to 10, it decreases. And also, if the session is engaging, fun, definitely the child will be enjoying. So what I do is, for example, if I'm teaching them running today, okay, so you may teach them standing start, you may teach them sitting start, you may teach them how to swing their hands. You may teach them how to lift their legs. But what if the same skill at the last 10 minutes, 10 minutes, if they make them to do relay? Definitely the child will have fun, right? If they make them competitive and give them different roles, today you pick up those 4 kids who are disinterested in your class and make them leader. Then see how it is fun.
Yeah.
You can
So
see the
now usually what
difference.
I do is like recently I taught them walking race. Okay. So what I have given like last 10 minutes, I asked them to play. They need to play football by walking. They're not supposed to run. They need to just walk and kick the ball if they want. Okay, they can score a goal by walking. They can tackle by walking. Like that I have done. But what happens? Few kids they're like totally like what happens? No, uh, they want to run only 2 rounds, and they don't want to run also. They just want to come and play. They'll be there only for the gameplay, not for the warm up activities. So for those kids, what shall I do? I'm telling you.
So you can make them understand that how important is warm up. You can tell them you want to play. So with the very first player step as a footballer, you need to do good amount of warm up. So show them a small PPT. What happens if the body is not warmed up? You can show them what it leads to an injury. So if that get into their mind, then definitely they will not say that I don't want to do warm up. I really want to play directly. So you can make these 4 kids as a captain or as a leader to lead the team. If they themselves is not doing it, then what kind of role models they are? That's what you need to put it in their brain. If that helps them to be a good leadership skill or a role model, then definitely they will follow your instructions. And like you can give them a high five for their motivation. You can give them stars if they're young kids, okay, and you can give them pat on their back. Okay, we always in our session always ends up with giving them a feedback. So if you give them a feedback, they will take it in a positive way. And also regarding even your session, how did your session go? Even you need a feedback, right? So what I normally do is I give 3 smileys, a very big smile and a just no, like just a smile and a sad smile. So there are 3 things. So while exiting the class, they tap on the smile and they will let me know that how was their session, did they like it? And in case if even they don't like it, it's absolutely fine. Everybody have different choices. But yes, I would really recommend that if such kids are coming to your class, give them an opportunity to be a leader, and at the start of the session, just show them just for a few minutes that how important is warm up. Show them in a PPT. Then make them understand that why it is important. If you don't do it, it leads to injury. And do you want to have that? As a footballer, would you welcome injuries? Then definitely no. Then taking a small steps will, help you to, tackle with the situations.
Okay, thank you.
Most
Thank
It's
you.
very
welcome. And let
informative,
me
ma'am.
know how it works. I have a lot of different strategy which I use it. I will share my email ID at the end and I can help you.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Thank you very much.
That's very nice way of helping each other. Ms. Dhanlakshmi, I wish we have more time, but quickly, like if
Yeah.
anyone has any questions, please ask. Please unmute yourselves and please ask the question before I end the session.
I've also shared my email ID. So in case if anyone has any queries which can be, addressed, you can send me your queries in this email ID so that I can help you with. I will share different strategies which can be used for an learning engagements in sports.
Great. So, to all the audience, if you have enjoyed the session and if you want to give a talk on our platform, you're most welcome. Please visit this website, schoolreformer.com, and you can send a mail to us if you want to give a talk, so that it's useful to all the education fraternity. So that's all. Anything else you want to mention, Ms. Dhanlakshmi, before we end the session?
Now, I would like to thank this team, School Reformer team, for giving me an opportunity and spreading awareness that how important is sports along with their education, which can help the child to be a lifelong learner and to face the real life situations. So, thank you so much for this.
Thank you for the talk and for patiently answering all the questions. It was indeed a very informative and a very unique topic, I should tell you. And till today, no one spoke. I mean, especially an athlete. You are the first speaker on our platform, like who spoke as a coach and as an athlete. And I personally loved the session. And we also thank the audience for participating in the event and posting the questions. And we will end the session now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.